demand. People have to have the ability to borrow and spend, not excessively, but to a reasonable extent. So, since I've spoken about the need for financial inclusion, the government has made big strides there. Let me not talk more about it, but let me now add some caveats. There is a danger when we discuss Make in India of assuming it means a focus on manufacturing, an attempt to follow the export-led growth path that China followed. I don't think such a specific focus is intended. I also think that we have to be careful because slow-growing industrial countries are much less likely to absorb a significant additional amount of imports in the foreseeable future. Of course, other emerging markets could absorb more. We have to have more of a regional focus. We have to look to Africa. We have to look to East Asia. But the world as a whole is unlikely to be able to accommodate another export-led China. And after all, we are China's size. We will be another export-led China if we go that way. So we have to be careful there. Second, industrial countries themselves are now adopting capital-intensive, flexible manufacturing, where they're dispensing with labor but doing what they outsourced at cheaper costs, made cheaper by the fact that, for example, the United States has very cheap energy today. So any emerging market wanting to focus on exporting manufacturing goods will have to contend with this new phenomenon of the industrial countries moving into that area. And third, when India pushes into manufacturing exports, it will have China, which still has some surplus agricultural labor to draw on to contend with. So the point I'm trying to make is export-led growth will not be as easy as it was for the Asian economies that preceded us, and therefore we have to be careful about focusing on that as the slow, sole path for growth. I am not, let me emphasize, I'm not advocating export pessimism here. As the former Prime Minister said, we have to export. India has been extremely successful at carving out its own areas of comparative advantage and will continue to do so. What I'm counseling against is an export-led strategy that involves subsidizing exporters with cheap inputs as well as an undervalued exchange rate simply because it is unlikely to be effective at this point. We constantly hear an attempt to try and do that. My sense is that strategy is probably, if tried, going to be far less effective than it was for our Asian counterparts.